Yes, folks, I'm KPHRED, and we're back again with another episode of KPHRED Prime Live, our contribution to global peace. I don't know, or at least telling the stories of people who come on the show. I'm here with my erstwhile co-host, Barbara Wainwright, representing the female gender. She is as stubborn as I because she keeps showing up and I can't seem to scare her off. Welcome, Barbara. How are we doing today?
Thank you so much, Phred. I'm doing great. And I just love that we have some fascinating guests here today that are going to share some information about their upcoming radio shows. And I'm excited to talk about the things they're going to talk about.
See, I'm figuring they all lost a bet, but, you know, that's okay. All right, so you're down in the hot zone of L.A., and Francis is in the hot zone of up north. What's it like in your world weather-wise? The reason I ask this is, as a Midwesterner, any business meeting I ever did always started out with weather. And when I was dealing with Californians, I would start there. People ask my partner, Michelle, who's a Californian, why does he talk about the weather? And when I got out here, I understood, you guys don't have weather.
That's so true. Oh my gosh. It's pretty much the same all year round. It's very, very consistent. You know, the temperature changes between noon and night, but it's not really very drastic, not like in other states at all.
So how's the weather there?
So it's been nice. I'll tell you, something I noticed is that we tend to acclimate wherever we are. I know I lived in England for 5 years, and when I came back to California, I thought it was in the middle of December where everybody's kind of bundling a little bit. I was in my summer clothes because it was so warm compared to where I've been living for 5 years. So I get how we acclimate, and I know the same was true for my daughter when she went to school in Arizona. She was bundled up. It was like 80 degrees at night because it was the summertime, and I'm like sweating because 80 degrees was pretty warm compared to, it's like very moderate where I live. And she was in a sweatshirt, and I'm like, oh my God, what happened to you? But she'd been there long enough to acclimate. So I feel very blessed to live.
Yeah, that's why Californians are much the same. Brains tend to be slightly cooked from too much sun.
I think it's the positive ions off the ocean myself.
Okay, we'll go with that for today's show. So, what's the word on the new book?
It's out on Amazon, so it got published, which is really great. Yes, thank you for asking. So, I should have my first copy coming in the mail maybe today. We'll see. But it's out there on Amazon. It's called The Power of Life Coaching, Manifesting Transformation, and it's available for $14.99 on paperback. So
will we be offering autographed copies through the KPHRED store?
Oh, we should. Yes, absolutely. We'll have to get that one set up, Phred.
Okay. So to our listeners, you can dial in at 323-580-5755. That's 323-580-5755. Or you can chat on the website at kphred.com. K-me. So, where you want to start with next?
I would love to do an interview with Dr. Mark because he is the good news doctor, and I'd love to start there.
Dear God, we need some good news because, as Catryn said, there's way too much bad news and the other stuff.
Isn't that the truth?
Uh-huh.
You know, it was interesting when I got the Good News Doctor website or domain about 15 years ago or so. I paid $2.30 for it. And just out of curiosity, I typed thebadnewsdoctor.com, and they wanted like $19,000 for that. And I'm like, oh, everybody wants to be known as the bad news, but not one person is the good news doctor? Come on. So all my patients kept telling me that you should be calling yourself the good news doctor because you're the only one that ever gives me good news when I talk to you and what can happen and where we're going to be. And, positive affirmations. I'm just a certified optimist. So thanks for having me.
Certified optimist?
I want to be certified as an optimist. I'm definitely one of those optimist type people. Everything is always going in my favor. That's the way I see it. Well, I'm so delighted to have you here, Doctor. I would love it if you could share.
Time out. So I'm still grinding on the certified optimist.
Okay.
I'm a certified Murphy was an optimist. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong at the worst possible time with the worst possible consequences, and I'm probably the one that's got to clean it up. Now you can...
You know, most people look at the world, is the glass half empty or is it half full? Where is your mindset? And I would look at them and say, well, it's completely full. It's half air and half water. So there's always a different point of view from what you think is obvious that you're still missing, but yet it's still true. And so I bring those things to life that are right in front of you every day, and you just never appreciated it. And so as you start to learn more about yourself, you understand things better about yourself, and you know how to better take care of yourself.
Amen to that. So go ahead. I love that. Although I was going to go with the matrix and the spoon. You must realize that there is no spoon, only that you can change yourself. So go ahead. Hi. Yeah.
Well, first question I have for Dr. Mark is, tell us a little bit about your background first, and then how you came to be the good news doctor.
All right. Well, thank you. I've been a chiropractor for 30 years and was raised in a very holistic family, seeing chiropractors and nutrition and finding root causes to injuries and actually just being healed and then going on with my life. And so the thought of, somebody telling me, oh my God, I have a headache. I must have a lack of aspirin in my body. I would just look at him like, it doesn't work that way, right? That's not the truth that you should be leaning on. It's why are you having the headache? And so, longer story short, I've specialized in sports injuries and brain and spinal trauma throughout my whole career, and then had to become my own best patient. My wife and I were in a terrible head-on collision with an 18-wheeler, and she had to have her neck replaced, and I split my pelvis in half and lost a third of my intestines and ripped the muscles from my legs off my pelvis and messed up my spine in 11 areas, pretty bad. And so it took a lot of years to recover. They said I wouldn't, a few different times along that path. And I was confined to a chair for 4 years there. And then, I never stopped fighting for that breakthrough. I just refused to take any medication. So I was, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. I'm choosing not to suffer. So it's all in your head, and pain's not constant. It's always in waves. And if you're not afraid of it, it doesn't hurt as bad. And the more you get anxious about it. So, I've worn that T-shirt for pretty much every type of pain and situation that most people have had, and I've been able to break through to the other side of it. And so I'm just so excited that I've been blessed to have amazing doctors in my life, amazing influences in my life, that I was able to find secret technologies that aren't even out yet, sometimes 6 months, a year, or a couple years before they're even released to the public, because I'm a researcher. And so I'm fascinated with the brain. I've done over 30,000 brain maps in my career, and I've been hired by lots of companies to evaluate what their product's actually doing in the neurology. It's one thing to have a bunch of hype and say it does this, but let's prove it. Let's look objectively at all of that. So I've been doing podcasts for years and have several platforms that I teach from, and I'm just very passionate about teaching everybody how to take a complicated subject and make it simple, and then be able to change a limiting belief that you might have had about that to a new belief that's actually serving you, that's going to actually help you find that breakthrough that's going to get you to the other side. And then you're going to have a whole different lifestyle again and a whole different abilities. And when you give somebody that's restricted and held down for so long their life back, there's no greater experience that you could ever have on this planet than to be able to see somebody go through that if they had never met you, they might not have ever found that angle or that path, because these aren't typically things that are just mainstream medicine and covered by insurance. So a lot of people are just kind of trapped to what they can afford to do, and unfortunately that's pretty sad that the special things that work the best are only sometimes available for the elite. But as we bring awareness to all of these things, and as technology keeps improving, it's becoming cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And now everybody can afford to have all these different types of health-related technologies in their own home and take care of themselves first until they know, I need to go in for help somewhere else. But there's so many things that we can do naturally. My children have never had to go to the hospital and have medications and have ever had any intervention other than myself. I was there at the birth and adjusted them right at birth, and I've done all the homeopathic, natural, nutrient, lifestyle things, and they're amazing. They're in their 20s and they're extremely healthy and very successful. So I'm super proud of them. Really amazing.
Wonderful. I heard a couple things that you said that I'd like to talk about. One is that you simplify things. I love hearing that, because I don't know about anybody else in this room, but I know sometimes going to the doctor, they talk in medical terms, which is, okay, tell me something that, in a language that I can understand. Because what you just said was gobble. You might as well have been speaking Chinese, and I don't speak Chinese. So I think that's really important. And I'd love to share a little bit more about that. How did
wait, time out. Never mind. I'm not going to go there. But CiCI really cracked up. All right.
And Barbara, I can help you a little bit. For that perspective, yes.
I love that. Oh, that's wonderful.
Well, I kind of look at it like this. Everybody only has so many shelves up here to store information. And so if you're talking to somebody and what you're saying has absolutely no interest to them, they're thinking, listen, I don't have any room to take things off my shelves and put that up there, because that's not as valuable as the things that I'm storing. So their bandwidth just goes down to nothing. And then they're going to wait for you to stop talking, and then go, that's amazing. And then they're just going to walk away. Like, how can they say it's amazing and walk away? And so it's like everybody communicates, but very few people connect. And the connecting is the key. If you're going to connect to somebody, you have to be able to speak at their speed, at their language, at their mindset. You ask a few questions to know, how does this person think about health? How do they feel about supplements? How do they feel about paying for something outside insurance? But there's a lot of different questions we can ask that reveal the type of person they are. And if we can connect to that person, then they'll let us take them places. But if immediately they feel, oh, he's too smart, he's too sophisticated, I don't understand what he's just said. I mean, I heard the words, but I don't remember anything. I can't turn around and tell my wife what the doctor just told me. But if I can take it and really chunk it down and meet them at that space and say, well, this is how this works. And if you understand the mechanism of action in your body, it makes so much sense. I'm not even tempted to do that anymore because that was hurting this. And so, but if I just say, don't do this because I'm the doctor and I told you this, that might work for a little bit, but it's not going to last. People have to realize that you're the only one in charge of your own body. You're the only supply sergeant for your body that's monitoring what goes in this hole right here. And nobody else really cares, honestly, because you're the only one that has to live with the choices. And so the problem is we can eat bad stuff and not feel bad right away. And so that's confusing to reality of so many people. But when they understand cellular health, what's really going on and how hard your body has to fight because of that choice, you're sacrificing healing somewhere else. And so it's just a matter of, I've been so inspired by certain speakers and certain influences in my life that I was just blown away. Like, I finally get it. And then I go home and tell my parents, they're like, Mark, we've been telling you that your whole life. I heard it, but I never really clicked. And all of a sudden I hear somebody else say it. It's like, oh my gosh, I finally get it. I feel it in every cell of my being. It's like, this is my purpose. So like, but you already knew that. And so sometimes you just need to hear a different analogy, a different perspective, somebody to simplify it down really easy so that you can actually do what you need to do. And that's have them change the way that they think about it. Otherwise, we're just pre-programmed with so many limiting beliefs because we were taught this, we experienced that, and then we've never been challenged in that area again. And we go through life just with all these ceilings above us in every aspect of our life, rather than knowing that there's the only ceiling you're making is the one that you're creating right now by having that belief.
Okay.
I'll jump off my little soapbox.
Wait, there's a whole lot of there to unpack, because when you're talking about the beginning, about going into depth, that's why I don't talk to people about streaming transports and all kinds of video tech crap, because I learned a long time ago, all it did was make them hate me. So I really, really connected about that, and I'll tell you, in I think you uttered the word stubborn in there. And I really connect to that, because it was last January when I looked at my wife and said, you know, I never expected to make 5 years after the heart attack. She paid me the greatest compliment I've ever gotten, which was, I knew you would. And I was stunned and said, how did you know? She goes, you're stubborn. And it was being stubborn about what I was putting in my body and what I was doing with it, and making sure I got that exercise. And that's why I'm down at least 3 meds. So
that's awesome.
I love that. I can't wait to get your stories out on KPHRED. Now you can jump, Barbara. Gotta let me get some time in.
Well, what I loved hearing was about connecting with people and using their language and their modality. And I know in more occasions than one, I've said something to somebody, and then it's taken somebody else to come along and say the exact same thing, probably in a different language. Maybe they broke it down differently. But then for that person to come away with, oh my God, so-and-so told me such and such. I'm like, I had that same conversation with you 6 months ago. Why now? You know? And so I've experienced that personally. I am always blown away. Like, no, we had that same conversation. I don't understand why you didn't get it. Well, apparently it's because they didn't hear it the right way. I didn't connect at some level. There was something in our communication style that it didn't jive. But it's been not only with my children, which I kind of expect. You know, just like your parents said, well, honey, we've been telling you this forever. You know, yeah, somehow teenagers have a mental block when it comes to recommendations from parents. I don't know what that is. But then, you know, it's happened to me with adults, too. Thank
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let me just comment on that from somebody that's seen tens of thousands of brain maps. It's amazing to let people with brains like I'm seeing have a driver's license, or, you know, can actually function heavy machinery. There's so much going on in most people's brains. Like they're hearing what you're saying, but they're also aware of 20 other things around them, and they just can't turn it off. And so you just think because we say something to an adult or to a child that they heard us, so that means they understood it, and it's going to change the way they make a decision later. They might have heard the first word and the last word and just nodded, but just because we speak, we can't assume that everybody can just receive all those words. Unless we're asking questions and having interactions, don't ever assume somebody is not distracted with something else personally going on in their head, and they're thinking about that while you're talking, and they're just waiting to tell you that they got to go, you know, or whatever the situation is, you know. And I do have to give credit to John Maxwell, because he wrote the book, Everybody Communicates, Few People Connect. And I've been a good connector most of my life, very easy to connect and to get along with people. But reading that book, I was realizing there was like a third of the things that I was doing absolutely wrong and wasn't even conscious of it. And so I've listened and read that over and over again, and it really helps you be present and realize that connecting takes effort on your half. It's not just like, okay, I'll talk to you. It takes effort to have relationships and to connect and to make people feel heard and to be able to repeat things after they say them to you. It's like, oh my gosh, he did hear that and he did understand that. Thank you for listening. And now what you have to say, it's been received by them. Right. And not just harsh, short answers flippant responses that, make you seem arrogant or make you seem like they just don't get me. It's like you don't know what people are thinking in their head if you're not speaking and asking. And I tell you, that's been one of the most valuable tools, is learning how to connect and realizing that it does take effort. And if you're the only one trying to take effort in any relationship and there's never anything coming back the other way, it's exhausting. And it's disheartening at times because you think they don't care, but that's not necessarily true. They're just used to you always initiating everything. So it's just funny how life is, but whether it's work, whether it's church, whether it's your personal life, everything is always about communication. And the better we can learn to communicate with people don't jump to conclusions and create all sorts of stress and release stress hormones in their body that takes all day to metabolize off. I mean, that's a whole process, and we don't have to be that way. My dad always told me, don't let anybody get your goat. And I'm like, I don't have a goat. What do you mean? Like, just because you hear something that gets you riled up and upset, realize that you don't have all the facts yet. Keith, don't let yourself feel any kind of way until you hear the other sides of the story. Then let yourself feel the appropriate way. And that has saved me so much cortisol release and so much heartache, because all the times that I didn't listen and reacted and be upset all day, then I hear the other side of the story and realize it was a total moot point. You didn't even get his message. He already told you. So it was like none of it mattered. And I let myself have a ruined day and I was derailed. And so that only happens enough times in your life to where you start to realize, you know what? I'm not going to let myself feel this way until I get the other side of the story. And just be patient.
I can tell that you are going to have a fantastic radio show, Dr. Mark, and it seems like you have a wealth of knowledge, not only about the physical body, but communication styles and the importance of being able to connect when you're communicating with somebody. And being a good listener is a really key part of that, absolutely. So I love what you shared. I know that you have to go shortly, so quick question.
Wait, time out. One of our other guests I want you to be able to have the last word, other than I only said I have a goat once. The second time I had to duck. Wow, you brought back some memories there. Joel, who will soon, we'll talk to Joel soon. Joel, you want to ask your question?
Actually, I'm so intrigued here. I just want to point out there's a big difference between hearing and listening. There's a big difference between breathing and living. There's a big difference between vision and eyesight. There's stuff that we were born with, that most of us born with. We're born with eyesight, don't born with vision. We're born breathing, we're not necessarily living. We have the capability of hearing, but there's a big difference between hearing and listening. So I just want to put these two cents in.
So now we're...
Joel, I'm going to absolutely take that from you and start hearing that as well.
So the shorter version of that is, so eventually you'll learn Neo, as I have. There's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. Sorry, they took me to the Matrix. Go ahead, Barbara, take them out.
Okay, do I get to ask the question of the day?
You get to ask them the question of the day, and then we'll let them go off and be outside of KPHRED land.
Okay.
323-580-5755. 323-580-5755. Go for it.
Okay, Dr. Mark, and you're the Good News Doctor show. If God came to you and said, today you are the creator, but there's a caveat. Today I want you to create something that will serve humanity. What would you create?
Wow. First of all, I would be so humbled that he would have that much faith in me to be able to even be the creator for a moment. It's like immediately we start thinking, I would create a world where everybody has a conscience, because there's too many people out there with no conscience, and they just make decisions that are the exact opposite of what God would do. And I would help people understand that there's a real simple formula when it comes to living your life if you want to live a godly life. And I know everybody knows this, but I just have to remind you of it every day. And you can take any situation that you have and just throw it into this formula. Is it good? Do you have knowledge? Add to that knowledge self-discipline. Add to your self-discipline perseverance. Is it godly? Would you and God think the same way about it? And if so, that's love. And you can take that formula to anything that you ever struggle with. And if people knew that, they would realize, what step of that formula did I jump off the ladder? Because it's always us turning away from him. And that he's given that to us, but people keep forgetting. And we might know it for a while, but we keep forgetting. And so for months, I go deeper on that exact thing over and over to think of every scenario that I ever struggle with, how to get it into that formula and be successful. So I think if people had a conscience, they would follow the rule, follow the formula, and they would find a way to actually give back and serve other people. I mean, that's truly the greatest gift you could have in life. And so many people will never experience it because it's always, what can I do for me?
I
What can I
love
do
that.
for me right now?
I love that. I think creating a world where everyone had a conscience would be brilliant. That would give us peace on earth. I feel really confident about that. So thank you, Dr. Mark. It's been wonderful having you here.
So,
Thank you.
Dr. Mark, I need you to spend some time on Reddit, in the subreddit, Find a Path. Because literally what you just said is what I've been telling others, is all the woe is me, pity, pity me, my life sucks. Go out and help others. I love it. That's awesome.
All right, Fred, I'll talk to you this week early.
You got it, my friend. All right.
Nice to meet everybody. See you next time.
So 323-580-5755. That's 323-580-5755. Or chat at kphred.com, and I'm PHRED. So now you got to pick the first guest. I'm gonna pick another author who's been the contributor to the Discover Rising Tide show forever, and we're about to start the Living Healthy Happy Life series on KPHRED. Ms. Denise Stegall, internationally bestseller. Did I get that right?
You did.
So, Denise, say hello. You're off
Hello, everyone.
You're off to Paris soon, where you're going to get sick on the way back, right?
I am not. I am off to Paris. I'm going to have a phenomenal trip, try fantastic wines, and I'm going to come home vibrant and full of energy and
talk to yourself a lot. You're going to talk.
I refuse to get sick on this next plane.
Good. There's a lot of work for you to do when you get back. You're going to have to do a lot of talking to yourself. So, Barbara, go ahead, ask your first question.
All right. Well, first question is, welcome, Denise. And then I would love to hear the name of your show and a little bit about you and your background and what brought you to KPHRED Radio.
Well, hey there, Barbara. It's great to meet you. Let's see. So a little bit about me. So I call myself the longevity concierge because I help women and a few smart men to up-level their health and wellness and essentially create a healthy lifestyle that works for them that equals like the success they've had in other areas in their life. And how I do that is I use the curriculum, or I create a curriculum from my book, Healthy Living, Happy Life. And when I wrote the book, I had actually been going through some health challenge that, the medical doctors, been to them and they really didn't have answers. And even some of the holistic doctors really didn't have great answers for me. And so what I decided was, I'm a smart cookie. I've got a college degree. I've got certifications. I should be able to figure out what's going on. And what I realized was I needed to go back to the basics. Eat real food, make good decisions, and be accountable. To the number one person, of course, me, myself, and I. Okay, so that's 3 people. So
I like her.
Really
She's split personality.
Me, myself, and I. All 3 of me at one time.
You're lucky there's only 3 of you. I try to coordinate like 32 people inside of me, but that's beside the point.
That's a whole new conversation there, Phred.
Yeah, I know. Weird thing is it keeps playing out over this show. Go ahead, Barbara.
All right. So thank you for sharing a little bit about you. And what would you mind sharing, again, if you already did, the name of your show, and then what is your show about?
Sure. So the show is Healthy Living, Happy Life. And we are, what I'm actually doing is to start the show, I'm actually giving everybody a chapter of the book each episode. So that's where we start. And the fun thing about this is taking the book chapter by chapter. I can also answer questions, obviously during the show. And so what I love about this is material, this is something that I know, that you know, that we all just need to get back to basics. But sometimes we just need to ask the most obvious question, and we tend not to. So that's really what I hope to do with Healthy Living, Happy Life, is to share the book, share some insights, and really help people to get to that next level in their health and wellness.
Yeah, I love that. So I love that you're doing I call that a book study show, because you're actually doing a study on your book, which I think is really great. And it's a wonderful format because it gives you the very logical linear from the book, right? But then it opens up the door to all kinds of questions, probably even more than reading an entire chapter. It would probably be paragraph by paragraph. Oh, that's an interesting concept. Oh, that's something that's new. So I love that. So are you going to have a live audience when you're doing your show, or how are you going to get your...
Not to start. Not to start. First, we got to get the first couple of chapters out. Then there'll be a live audience, but she doesn't know that yet. So don't tell her.
Apparently I do now. So there's the answer, Barb. You and I just both found that out at the same time.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, then I'd recommend inviting some friends to come and listen to the beginning of that while you start reading, because I'm sure that there will be questions that they can ask that will help others, because if somebody has a question, they're not the only one with that question, right? So it'll be brilliant.
So true.
A couple people there to chime in and give you feedback on that. I love that. That's brilliant, Denise.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. I love the title of your book and your show is Healthy Living, Happy Life, right? I've heard the expression happy wife, happy life. But
there's part of that too. That works too.
Also true, right? But healthy living, happy life is so true, because when you're living a healthy life, then you have the freedom and the capability of doing other things that bring you joy.
Absolutely, because that healthy piece, obviously it's healthy body, healthy mind, healthy spirit. It's all of those things that encompass life. So when we have those in place, it's never always a true balance, it's more harmony, let's say. That's when life starts to get really good, and happiness kind of falls into place when you start really working on these things, or focusing on these 3 areas in life, in your health.
Agreed. So, Phred, can we ask the question? Are we good to go on that one?
Are we good to go on that one? When do you leave for Paris?
Monday.
Crap. That sucks. Okay. I should have...
I'm excited about it. He's not happy about it, but I'm...
Well, no, I can't get you... All of a sudden, I just had this image of you in a KPHRED T-shirt in front of the Eiffel Tower. And that would just...
Overnight.
That would just be too cool. But, all right. So go... It takes me a while at times. I'm slow. Go ahead, Barbara. Ask away.
All right, Denise. If God came to you today and said, I want you to be the creator. Today, I want you to create something to serve humanity. What would you create?
What an amazing question. So deep. I love what Dr. Markin said before, and I was thinking about this. I would love to create something that enabled people to truly communicate, it doesn't matter where they're from, that we could all communicate and understand one another. This would create understanding, patience, and all of the things that I think we're just lacking right now in the world. It would bring, I'm going to use the L word, it would bring love to the world. And I think that's something that is truly beautiful. And I love connecting with people. One of the reasons I love to travel is to be able to connect. And sometimes if the language barrier can be a challenge. And so I'd love to remove that. Not to remove people's personal languages or their cultures, but just some way for us all to be able to communicate and really understand one another.
Didn't they have one of those devices in Star Trek?
Not sure, did they?
I'm not sure either, but I think they did.
Hey.
Oh my gosh.
It's only Model 1 of KPHRED. Give me some time to get it up there. Criminy, people.
Oh my goodness. Right? I mean, that is the intention with KPHRED, is to connect people, right? Ooh.
Yes.
Ooh. All right.
Thank you very much, Denise. It's been a joy getting to know you and your show, and I'm sure you're going to be bringing a lot of value to KPHRED.
Thanks so much. Really great to meet you, Barbara.
Thank you.
Be safe on the flight. Don't get sick on the way back. If you do, you're going to hear me chuckling. You know that.
I know that.
Because I've done it on the...
Good. I got my essential oils. I got my essential... I even got my essential oil drops.
Oh, good.
I'm good.
Fair enough.
Fight this all the way.
Nice.
All right, so we're going to continue in the health theme with our next guest. She's got a short period of time, and then we're going to hit some more health folk. Let's talk to... yeah, go ahead. But say it quickly. So let's talk to the woman I like to call Goat Lady.
Oh my gosh, Goat Lady. Okay, I got to hear about that backstory. In the meantime, welcome Frances Esters to the show.
You're muted.
Thank you. Sorry, I just unmuted myself. Give me a second. He calls me the Goat Lady because I live on a farm and we have goats and cows.
Okay, all right, that explains that. So,
and Catryn's going, yeah, now I get it.
Oh, so I'm just curious now. Have you heard the expression, don't let him get your goat?
Yes, and I was laughing because one of my goats walked by right as he said it. And I was like, oh, I've got your goat.
I've got your goat right here. I love that. Well, Frances, first of all, I understand your show is called Creating Health, and I'm sure that you bring a very unique and wonderful aspect to your show. I would love to hear a little backstory about you and how you ended up wanting to create that show, and how you kind of got into the industry, the health industry. I mean, that's not a path that everybody takes, obviously, but you did. So tell us a little more.
So my journey in really wanting to get into health and wellness started when I was 18 years old. I woke up and my right arm was purple and blue and did not know why. Went into urgent care for Kaiser. I was there for 9 hours where doctors poked, prodded, pushed, tried to figure out, did x-rays, could not figure out what was going on, but we obviously knew I had lost quite a bit of circulation to my right arm. And by the end of the day, it was spreading to the right side of my body. So a physical therapist came in, started doing some manual manipulations. We were able to get to where the color was at least back, but we knew there was an underlying cause, which I turned 47 next month. We still don't know why. I spent the first part of my 20s in a lot of pain, dealing with a lot of things, not knowing what was going on with my body. And it was very frustrating because our traditional medical world had no clue what was going on at all. And they were, as we've talked about several times today so far, symptoms were being treated, but no one was even attempting to try to find the underlying cause. And so that started a whole thing of just me trying to figure out how to get my body back, because at the time, between 18 and 19, I was told that by the time I was 29, I would probably be a vegetable if I kept on my current path. if I even survived to be that long, because they just had no idea why. And circulation is kind of important to your body.
So quick question here. Quick question.
Yes.
I want to ask about the vegetable comment.
Yes.
Are you a lifelong Californian?
I am a lifelong Californian, born and raised.
Okay.
I will die in this state.
At least that gives us a level of vegetableness.
Well, you know, most produce comes from California, so I think that it's appropriate.
Yeah, especially in the government. Never mind. Yes, I said that, but okay, go away. Continue on. I've known Frances for a long time, and it still rocks the way I met her. She's a mover. Let's go.
So let's fast forward through all of that. And then 20 years ago, I was hired to work in a day spa that did all the things for women, right? Now, I am known as the elegant tomboy. I am the only female in my family, only girl in my family, outside of my mom. So I was raised as a boy. And the joke in my family is I didn't learn how to be a girl until I was in my 20s when I started this job, right? So that's when I was really introduced into skincare and the more beauty side and the aesthetic side of wellness, which I quickly learned also how important it is in that world, how much it affects your confidence, which is how you face the world. And that was a whole nother eye-opener, because it got me thinking about how I looked at myself, especially with the struggles, where I allowed my brain to go to, allowed my confidence to go to. And then let's fast forward another, 15 years, and I started running, I was managing a medical spa and learning a whole new level. And life throughout this whole entire time, and aging and being around public every single day, seeing how women are marketed to, seeing how most people in this world, they want to be healthy. I've never met one person who says, I want to be sick, I want to feel horrible, I want to be depressed. But most people don't know where to start. And when you are already in a physical place where your health is not where it should be, which then downturns to the mental place of, now I'm not where I should be. Where do I start? Where do I even begin? I'm being targeted every single day with these ads. Use this product, take this pill. Everything's going to be fine. But how do you take all of that madness and simplify it to where I know what I need for me in my situation, and where do I begin? And that's what my show is about. It's going back to the basic fundamentals of, okay, are we doing the most simple things every single day to make sure that I am actually working on my health? And that's where I'm going from, is taking my life struggles, all of the life struggles that I work with, in all of aspects of what I have been able to, where I think I'm blessed, and working through all these different types of people and all of their health struggles, is giving them that place to start. Because I think that once we find that foundation, everything else usually puts itself into play, and then we can start seeing who we are, where we want to be, and then working towards that.
Okay. All right. So my question here is, you talked about getting back to basic. And my question is, does it really entail owning a goat? Because I've had teenage daughters, teenage stepdaughters, teenage step-granddaughters. I've had dogs, and they all leave a mess, and cats too. But do I really got to have a goat?
I really think you should have a goat. They're a lot of fun, and unfortunately, when I was trying to see if I could show you one right now, but they all had walked off to the side of the farm. Yeah, they're a lot of fun. But if you don't want to clean up messes, then don't get a goat.
Okay.
Because they will leave little pebbles everywhere. They're quite prolific poopers. But if you like gardening, then they're amazing, because they're great composters.
Oh, there's a
Yes.
political comment there that I'm just gonna bite down, and not on the poop or anything else. I'm going to keep my level above. That's fine. I know a couple of guests for the show. And will the show also be offering animal handling tips?
Well, I think that having animals actually is very healthy for you, because not only are you having to care for someone else. Most animals are unconditional love. I mean, even goats. I mean, they run to me like dogs when I get home. I mean, of course, it's because I've got, sucker written across my forehead, and they know I'm the carrot lady, so they know treats are coming. But, I think that animals are a huge part in our sanity in this world. It's the one place where, they don't talk back and give you crap. I mean, they might give you some little attitude every once in a while, but I think that animals are a huge part of getting back to nature and just connecting with the world. I think we're far too separated from the outside world. We spend too much time online. We spend too much time on our phones, and we don't have interaction with all of the beauty that surrounds us. And that's a huge part, I think, of your overall health, is really connecting to, the abilities that we were given. We can walk, we can hike, we can talk, we can work with, a whole lot that we don't.
Go ahead. Take the last question, ma'am. Boy, the answer disarmed Barbara. So.
You got this, Fred?
So, all right, so I'll ask the last question. If God came to you and said, it's your ass on the line for the day, you don't create something that serves humanity, you're going to the other place. This is the Phred version of it.
And I'll give you the Phred answer for it.
That's what I love about you. Frances has been described as a female Phred, and a female Gen X Phred. So what is it that you're going to create that would benefit mankind? I've come up with a couple of things in my head, like a unemptiable coffee cup, but let's give me your answer.
I would bless everybody with the ability to tap into their bullshit meter. I think that the biggest issue that we have in this world is that we are too blind to listening what we are influenced to what others want us to listen to. And we are far too accepting too quickly of information that is put in front of us. And so I think that if everyone could see if someone is actually speaking for their betterment or not, that we would be able to discern what we need to do to be that better person. Going back to, what Dr. Mark was saying, we all have a conscience, but how do we tap into it? And I want people to be able to see if someone is not tapping into their conscience to do something bad against them, so that they can use this thing called reason and logic and common sense, which really needs to be brought back to our world.
Oh, here. Common sense. That's really a great way to put it. I call it critical thinking.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
People have good critical thinking skills. And, I think there's a reason for that. And the reason I believe is the education system. They're taught to memorize facts. They're not taught to think. And in my coaching training, that's what I say. What we do as coaches is help our clients think more strategically and more tactically so that they can have a life that they really love. So,
well, I think people need to tap into this really big word called why. I think that is something that, and inwardly thinking, why are we doing this? Why am I thinking this way? Why am I connecting to this? And how is that bettering me? And how, because we can't be good to the world unless we're good to ourselves, right? So it's going back to that foundation of let's be the best me to be betterment for the world.
Right, and it all starts with us as individuals. I agree. And when you were talking about asking the word why, oh my goodness, if you've ever had little children, that's all they do is ask why. Why?
But that's beaten out of us, right? We're told that, stop asking why. And then as adults, when we really should be asking that question, we don't anymore.
Exactly.
And I think that it should be encouraged. And like you're saying, critical thinking. Amen. Yes, we need to bring that back.
Okay, so I just want to point out that the Phred answer would have been, people quit being a dumbass.
Well, that was the underlying, but I'm trying to be polite.
Like I said, that's the Phred answer. Thank you, ma'am. So let's go talk about some eggshells, shall we? Go ahead.
I would love that. Okay, Joel, welcome to the show, and I'm looking forward to hearing about your show called The Eggshell Effect. So please introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you, and what made you decide that the eggshell effect was something that you'd want to talk about?
Great, thank you very much. I'm so happy to be here. This is exciting. I had no clue what I'm coming to, and this has been an amazing afternoon, so this is great. My name is Joel Holc. I live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I'm an author and a speaker, a coach, a multi-business owner. So I do a lot of things. And I met Phred a while back, and we got reconnected. And then say, hey Joel, let's do this radio show. I said, can I do it? I don't know what to do. How can I do it? And then say, hey, for sure I can do that. And we actually just gave the name to the show about an hour ago when Phred and I were talking. So this is the name of the show, is The Eggshell Effect. And this is the name of my book. And obviously there is a lot of value to this name. I did not just pick up the name for no particular reason. There is a big reason why the book is The Eggshell Effect, and what's the thinking behind it.
Well, can I just share, I think for me, when I hear eggshells, that reminds me of when I was young and my father was manic depressive, and now they call it bipolar, and we needed to walk on eggshells around him because we didn't want to set him off, right? So that's what I think of when you say the eggshell effect. I don't know if is that true for you too? Is that what that eggshell effect means?
So I would love to share about what is the eggshell effect mean. And this is part, I mean, all the book is about my life experience and my life. I would just give 2 minutes before the answer to this question of what is the eggshell effect is. In 2009, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. My doctor told me I will be living in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. There is nothing that they can do. They can slow down the disease, but they cannot heal me. For about a year, I believed the doctor. After a year, I changed my mind. I said, I don't want to be sick no more. And I started healing myself organically. And it's been an amazing, amazing journey. And as a part of the journey of healing myself, there were a lot of wow moments. Like I think that Dr. Mark was talking about, like these miracle moments that just keep happening and happening and happening. And as they just kept happening, one of my coaches say, "Hey Joel, you should write a book." Now, she knows me all my life, this coach. I have dyslexia. I can't write to save my life. I mean, you put the gun next to my head, say, Joel, write something, and they might as well shoot me. It's not supposed to come out of my head. I can read, but I can't write as well. But if there is a will, there is a way. There is always a way to make it happen. And I start writing this book. And the book is about my life journey and how I got sick. I know Denise talking about how helping people to heal themselves, and it's great. I mean, people need this information. For me, it was more about how I got sick, because as I kept living my life and started coaching people, I really recognized that there is one underlyment for everybody that I met. It's the same thing. And this is really where my work and the book is about, how people really get sick. Now, I'm not talking about car accidents as Dr. Mike experienced. I'm talking about mainly sicknesses that we have actually in our body. We pretty much create these sicknesses. Now, I grew up in Israel. I grew up in a farm, and for anybody that's living in the farm here and the roads, we work all the time. You can, like, if you can walk, you can work. This is how it is. And about age 10, I was working we had a petting zoo in the community that we lived in. And at that particular day, I was working and cleaning up. We had a shed. I was cleaning up the shed. And in the shed, we had an incubator for where eggs that were abandoned by their moms were actually there to be able to hatch. And as I clean up the floor, all of a sudden I see a chick trying to break to the eggshell. Now, if you ever seen something like this, it's fascinating. It's like it's a beginning of life. It's amazing. And about a few seconds later, the chick stopped breaking the eggshell. And then a few minutes later, try again. And now, just letting you know, all this place was run by kids. I mean, only kids ran the place, and there was one adult that was making sure that everybody there to not hurting themselves, not hurting the animals, but everything, all the petting zoo was running by the kids. I was 10 years old at the time. And all of a sudden, I see the chick stop breaking the eggshell, and I got scared that the chick will die, that does need help. And I reach out my arm to help the chick to break the eggshell. Now, it just happened to be that the adult that was there to supervise us, now this was a fairly big place, just happened to be that he was there, grabbed my arm and said, "Joel, don't help the chick." Now, for me, I immediately asked him, why? I want to help. And he said, "Joel, if you help the chick to break the eggshell, you actually go to kill the chick, because once the chick coming out, it will not build the strength inside the eggshell by breaking the eggshell to survive life outside the eggshell. So by actually helping, you actually hurt it." Now, I was 10 years old. This story did not make big impact on my life, at least I thought so. Made a big difference for the chick, but not in my life. But fast forwarding 35 years later, as my life fell apart, and I realized that throughout all my life, I built up an eggshell to protect myself from the world. And all the stories, I'm not good enough, I'm not this, I'm not that, as I shared with you earlier, I'm talking about my dyslexia. Growing up as a kid, I was not thinking that I'm stupid. I knew I'm stupid. It wasn't, I'm sorry, we have kids here in the room, but it was like, this is how I grew up. I was never good enough. Obviously, it's made sense for a 7-year-old not feeling good enough if all the kids know how to read and write. I did not learn how to read and write until I was 8th grade. So there was no really surprise there for me, but this is how I grew up all my life. And at age 45, when my life fell apart, and I asked myself the most important question of how did I get here, and I realized how I got here, how life really realized, but I realized that I built up this eggshell around myself. And for me, at that point, I had to make a choice. Am I shrinking and staying safe inside the eggshell? Or I'm willing to do the same thing that the chick did 35 years earlier and just break the eggshell and become free. So I chose, luckily, to break the eggshell and become free. But most people choose to stay safe, choose to stay in control, choose to medicate themselves, choose to drink, choose to drugs, choose to eat too much, not eat enough, good relationship, like all this stuff that we do just to keep ourselves safe inside the eggshell. So the story is really to support people to break through the eggshell of protection.
I love that. That's way better than my eggshell thinking. Being able to break out of the eggshell. And I see that as sometimes people talking about, being behind a wall, and having the wall be a barrier between them and other people. So the eggshell effect, I get it, because you're the one that created the eggshell, right?
We create the eggshell. It's not as special as I am, as my mom always told me, "Joel, you're special." I'm not that special. We all create these protections around ourselves.
Yes. So you can either live in that small little tiny world, really, or you can learn and grow and expand and begin to trust yourself first, and then begin to trust others when you recognize that they're trustworthy.
Okay.
That's great.
All right, so there's a couple of thoughts I've got of when you said eggshells, in a sense, every time you say eggshells. And I think that's a phenomenal title. And I'm going to get to the second part, journeys, people's journeys from fear, because I have my own. But I'll tell you, when I think eggshells, I remember working, I spent 10 years working in the meat industry. And 2 of those years was actually in a slaughterhouse. And I had to go as part of my job to... and I went to hog slaughterhouses. I went to, I worked in a beef slaughterhouse, and I went to a chicken slaughterhouse. And I got to tell you, the stinkiest one, bar none, there was no restaurant within 10 miles, was that chicken plant. It was the worst smelling thing I've ever had. So, yeah, when you think about it, that thing we're in, that egg we're in, really stinks. We just don't know it.
That's a good one, Phred.
So, journeys from fear. I do actually have my own story on that, because as anybody who's been listening before knows, that I had a heart attack 5 years ago, and I mentioned about being stubborn, which is why I survived. But the other part of that was, while I was highly argumentative with my cardiologist, the Tuesday he sent me home, which that's a part of the stubborn story, but not for now. That next day, that first day I woke up, I did not want to get out of bed, and I did not want to go outside and take a walk, because I was sure I was a dead man. And it was one of those things of, I drew a line in the sand and said, I will not live my life in fear of death. And I think that message of yours is incredibly powerful. And I'm looking forward to getting it out to everybody else and hear everyone else's story, or the other stories we can bring onto that show, to just highlight what you've done as an example. I think that's, wow, I am turning Californian, aren't I? Oh, well.
Welcome. You've checked into Hotel California.
Cue the good, bad, and the ugly.
Been to Hotel California? Like the one from the song?
That's what you... Yeah, I know, it's politics, but that's beside the point. Go ahead, Barbara.
Okay, Joel, thank you so much for sharing about your show and your journey to break out of your own shell. And I love that analogy that a lot of us are in our own shells or in our own world. And it's okay, the world is a safe place, but you need to learn to trust yourself first. So that's a very powerful message, and I look forward to hearing your show also. So I have a question for you.
Wait, time out. You didn't like my analogy about stinky? Never mind.
I've never had that experience, Phred. I can't relate. I apologize.
That's something I hope they never develop virtual reality smells. We're doomed.
There you go. Oh my gosh, no, please. All right, so, Joel, if God came to you and said, today I want you to be the creator, and I want you to create something to serve humanity, what would you create?
The short answer or the long answer?
The long answer, come on.
Okay.
She's a Californian. What else is she going to say?
I don't know what it's mean, California, but I will go with you, Phred. Whatever you say, I'm going with that. So as a part of my book, and Phred touched about it, it's the journey from fear. So the reason that my life got kidnapped by the energy of fear, and everything in my life changed from that moment, as I shared earlier, my learning experience in school, I will not even call it disability, just learning experience. So in the last day of first grade, as all the kids got the report card and got the diploma and say, hey, you finished first grade and welcome to go to second grade, in mine there was a black marker and say, nah, you're not going to second grade, you have first grade again. Not for granted, this happened long time ago. I'm sure nobody will do it today, but again, this is different times. And at that moment, my life was kidnapped by the energy of fear. Everything that I did from age 7 until age 45 that I became aware of my life and aware of who I am and aware of what I am, it was all reaction from fear. And as being blessed to work with hundreds of people and help them to become free, is my commitment is to help them to become complete with the energy of fear. Energetically, everything that we do is coming from two opposite energies. We're either reacting from the energy of fear, or either we choosing from the energy of love. So when I say love, if I don't need a day, I need a second, is to connect people to the energy of love, of themselves. Because, in the good book, is love your neighbor as you love yourself. I really don't. I have neighbors, they don't love themselves. I don't want their energy in my life. If you don't love yourself, how can you love me? It's love yourself, and then love your neighbor as yourself. So it's really to help people to connect to the energy of love.
I love that. That's beautiful. All right.
So
Phred.
the only thing I'm gonna ask, because I picked on Joel enough, and I actually picked on you about this earlier. So are we going to be able to offer an autographed copy of The Eggshell Effect on the KPHRED e-commerce site?
For sure.
2 in a row. Damn, this is getting like grenades in a fish barrel. Never mind.
I don't know if that would be worse than the chicken coop smell or not.
Depends on how close. In both cases, it depends on how close you are. Because
smell, believe me.
We had to travel 10 miles away to get dinner, and even then you could smell it. We literally drove most of the way back to Kansas from Arkansas that night.
Oh my goodness.
All right, who you picking on next?
Well, I think it's time to hear about the good, the bad, and the ugly in business. How about that, Catryn? Are you ready for that?
Oh, I'm always ready for that.
Eventually, I'll get the right soundtrack where I can play that well, but that
I'll
worked.
just have to sing it for you.
Ooh, we got to do the video, and we'll release it as a single on during the music sections of KPHRED. Rock on!
There you go.
Let's go, Tortoise Lady.
There we go. Yeah, so Francis, he calls me Tortoise Lady, and so since we know why he calls you Goat Lady, I'm sure you guys can all infer that I have tortoises. But I also have chickens, and I completely agree, Joel. Watching them hatch is really, really incredible process, and it's one that I'm really glad I've gotten to experience and share with my kids as well, because I was 38 years old before I'd ever seen it happen, and it was like, wow, I felt like I was missing out. I'm debating on which order to tell the stories in, because we're kind of in a good high moment right now.
So take us ugly.
The ugly story, it's ugly. It's really ugly. And
What else is new?
And so without any political piece of it, just to take a moment for this shooter, the victims of the school shooting that happened at Appalachia High School in Georgia this week. Christian, Mason, Christina, and Richard. It brings tears to just even think that we still live in a world where these kind of things can happen, because it's so sudden. It's something that you can't prepare for. And so I just wanted to take a moment for the victims, for the survivors, because it was
unacceptable.
A high school class. And that's a whole classroom of students that witnessed that happen. It's me all emotional.
And it's unacceptable. I was talking to my daughter yesterday, and my daughter's a teacher. She's the chair of the 7th and 8th grade math, maybe 6th, I don't remember. And she was telling me about this, that she didn't see the news Wednesday, she saw it Thursday night, which she said was a really good thing, because on Wednesday they had been practicing the active shooter drills, and
oh my goodness.
And we were discussing how that her her school's districts had, where she teaches, had gone to the stay alive at any cost. And we were talking about, she's taking the kids out one way or the other way. She said, and if I can't get out those ways, I'm going to barricade the door, and I'm on the first floor. I'm going to bust out the window and get the kids out that way and then get out. And then, because she's dealing with her dad, she said, and if they come in then, I'm going to start throwing crap at them and everything I can, because I may go down, but I'm going to go down hard. And it was one of those things that we were talking about earlier, that sometimes kids don't listen to us. And my daughter made me so proud, because she knew Dad is an old man and he'll go down fighting, and that's how he raised her. So that is a sucky topic.
It is. And I debated on, there's so much in the news that we could go from, but, it really goes to show that, all the policies in the world can't bring anybody back. And it's what we do in our day-to-day lives and how we interact and connect with everyone, to really hear them, that I think can make a difference. So just hearing all the people talking today, and how much I feel like the work that they're being called to do can help bring some difference. There's still hope there.
Okay, so now you're starting to take it back up. Do we want to go into the bad now?
Sure, we can go up to the bad. I'll bring it back to business.
Quit crying.
I cry. It's part of me, and make no apologies for it. It's all the emotions you have to move through. So
I don't ask you to make apologies. You got it right. It's all good.
Thank you. I've been in California. More proof. Soon, no one's gonna believe the Chicago part. They're gonna think that's all a joke.
Yeah, well, no. We keep him reined in since we've been in California. Stops fights.
Well, the story that I brought in 2 weeks ago was talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. And this is adjacent to that. And that's another movie that was released last month called It Ends With Us. And it was starring Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. And I had never heard, it comes from the adaptation of a book written by author Colleen Hoover. I had never read the book, hadn't heard of it, so I had just seen through social media the advertising for this movie. And there's florals everywhere, it's very pink, it's very smiley. I just assumed this was about, a summer rom-com, right? It's got Blake Lively looking gorgeous with her handsome co-star, and, who knew? And I'd see friends that were all going to see it, and like this big girl thing, kind of very reminiscent of what people did for Barbie last summer, that you show up, you wear pink, it's this moment. And Barbie was, had some real things that it talked about, but it was also very fluffy in terms of, it's Barbie.
Thank you!
The content of It Ends With Us deals with domestic violence. So it's a very heavy topic. It was like that in the book. So anyone that was fans of the book is coming into it knowing what it is. And so the bad that I'm bringing up is the disconnect in what marketing was talking about with the product. And that someone who had no idea, previous knowledge of it, I would have had no idea walking into that movie what I would have been exposed to. Maybe, teenage daughter be like, hey, let's go see this fun movie together, mom-daughter time. And they would have been like, oh, this might have been a little bit inappropriate. Like, I didn't know. So the message to bring back to us as business owners is, and goes back to communication, which has been a very prominent thread that we've had throughout this entire KPHRED Live Prime episode, is what are we saying and how are we communicating it to our audience? Is it in a way that they can receive and hear and understand for the level of knowledge that they are at? And I think that this was quite a miss from those two, from the Blake Lively camp, and how she's getting a lot of backlash from it, and being, called tone deaf for how she's handled the marketing and PR aspect of this. So it was just really kind of threw me for a loop when I found out. I was like, oh, this is domestic violence? Like, that's a very different type of movie.
So Okay, so when you talk about the marketing, I think about like the first time I saw The Night of the Living Dead. Was not expecting that. Of course, everyone on here who's under a certain age is going, huh? What? Huh? So, domestic violence.
Shoulders emoji for that one.
That's fine. I get it. I'm old. The domestic violence awareness is one that another co-host, couple of co-hosts, one of my partner Ray Pillar, as a Molly Maid owner, they've been doing domestic violence awareness programs with his franchise for years, and I've been able to be part of interviews and things like that. There was actually one Pillars of Franchising show. The person they had on talking about that, I went, holy crap, and I thought I was just not ducking when I was a kid. It quit when I learned to duck and got faster. So I agree with you there, too. Barbara, you want to jump in?
Well, domestic violence is such a heavy topic, so I just want to move into the marketing aspect of it.
Good.
Right, that's the intent of this one as far as bad goes.
So making sure that your message matches your product or your service is so important. And how misleading was that to have a Barbie-like marketing, all light and fluffy, and this is going to be fun, and then have it turn out to be something that's so heavy as that. So that marketing, I don't know, who was the marketing person behind that? That was a tough one.
Fire them.
Yeah, right? And then anybody that has to answer to that marketing who was impacted by it, that's got to be hard for them too. It's like, I don't know what they were thinking, obviously not clearly. Anyway, I think that's really a good message from the business aspect is make sure your messaging matches your services or your products. Really a key point.
Don't be a dumbass, in other words. All right, so on to the good.
So for the good, you guys can choose. I can either talk about IVF or we can talk about AI.
Ooh.
IVF all day. Let's do it.
AI would have been, maybe somebody came up with portable EMP generators, I was hoping. Never mind.
Well, I can give you a little taste of both. How about that?
Perfect.
AI, this ought to be good. Only on KPHRED Prime Live.
Oh, that's the good, bad, and ugly, right? We get it all. So this I found absolutely fascinating. I don't have a way to relate it back to business yet. Maybe as I talk through it, it'll come to me. But I loved the story. So there are rhinos in Africa. We've got white rhinos and black rhinos. And the white rhinos have been near extinction. In particular, there is the northern white rhino where the last remaining male died in 2016. And there's only 2 female white rhinos remaining. The southern white rhinos, there's still a couple thousand of them, but not the northern ones. And so the breakthrough that happened this last 2 weeks has been they were able to take embryos from the 2 remaining females, and they saved the sperm from the male before he passed. And they had a successful embryo implantation into a southern white rhino. So the species will continue to make it through. And I thought, man, that's amazing. That's something that humans impacted. The white rhino's extinction is completely driven by mankind. It's nothing that has happened as a course of natural due process. So it's amazing that we're able to find this way to take what we've learned from genetics and apply it. And there's also research that's being done in bringing back the dodo. There are some samples of dodos because dodos went extinct in the 1600s. I think it's like an 80-year span from when the Dutch settlers arrived on the island of Mauritius in the Indian Ocean, that they completely killed out the dodos in 80 years. But there's still some samples from feathers and bones that they were able to take genetic material from and sequence the entire genome. And now they're working on ways to apply it to a close relative. There's a certain type of Asian pigeon that is a close enough relative of the dodo bird that they think they're going to be able to bring back the dodo bird, which I don't know if that's good or bad or ugly, because it's kind of terribly frightening that we have the capability of doing that, but yay for the white rhinos.
So with the white rhinos, I guess I'm just struggling with the fact that something that horny would have such issues reproducing.
Well, white rhinos, their gestation period is like 16 months. So it is a really long time.
Yeah, never mind.
It has anything to do with being horny or not.
I understand why the female's going, you keep that thing away from me. You keep that thing away from me. So that's the one comment on. The other one about the dodo, I flashed to Jurassic Park. When's the next idiot going to come up and say, hey, we found T-Rex eggs, we're going to hatch them, and see a bunch of then again, seeing T-Rexes go through L.A., ooh, that might actually kind of be, because most people in L.A. would go, oh, that's just a Hollywood float, and they go, ah, and it'd be really cool. All right, so we're not going to ask Catryn the question yet, because she gets to wait till we're all the way through. But that was an awesome good, bad, and ugly, although I missed the Gen A slang. Any Gen A slang?
Nothing today, no Gen Alpha. My kids are off doing other stuff today, so I'm riding solo.
Fair enough. Well, happy when your wing person's back. Next, ma'am, who you want to go to next?
Okay, CiCI. I would love to hear about CiCI, and understand the name of your show is Coffee with CiCI, and that leaves it just wide open for topics and things to talk about. So I'd love to hear what your intention is with your radio show, CiCI.
Yes, thank you, Barbara. Very, very nice to meet you. I just love your style, love your voice. It's beautiful, gorgeous, like what a blessing. And right, and then also you have just a beautiful, beautiful boy in front of you. It just make the scene is more beautiful. Hi, and I think I'm new here. Like I'm here to learn. I'm a student, and I'm also new to this space. I think this is my first show here. Just by listening to everybody, it's all inspirational moments for me. Like so many wonderful thoughts and concepts. I feel blessed. So thank you. And just a little bit about me is my name is CiCI Yang, that I live in Boston. So my background is I'm a registered representative working in the finance and helping the business entities and individuals to really help them to get where they needed to be financially. In the show that it really wanted to, the name is Coffee with CiCI, like Barbara mentioned. So it will be like in a casual setting, and we'll happily to invite amazing guests. It could be everybody here, because I find this fascinating of everybody's success and just beautiful journeys. The reason why I pick up this one is because so initially that's before I met Phred, that I have this idea in mind, because I think I'm an immigrant, and I'm a student. I'm keep on learning. I have a growing mindset, and I listen to the inspirational and the motivational speakers a lot. For example, that in America we have so many beautiful, affluent speakers. For example, I'll just name a few, J. Abraham, Grant Cardone, Emily, right? So Tony Robbins and Sean Callaghan, and so all of those, just Oprah Winfrey, all of those, so amazing. then I feel like I benefited myself. Sometimes you go through the challenges and struggles, but just maybe one sentence, just one word can lift you up like instantly, right? And then so I came here like 10 years ago, like and this show that helped me and as a companion grow together with me, and I benefited tremendously. And I was thinking that what if that I'm not being selfish, that I share how I'm growing, and I will continue to grow, and then share with maybe people from other side of the planet, where somebody somehow somewhere needed to listen or need to have these positivities, right, or messages, right? I invite all of those amazing individuals, just like everybody here, and share, your valuable stories, your heart and mind, this beautiful, inspiring, the values, the philosophies, right? And put in one place and then share with the rest of the world. There are 80 billion people in the world, so somehow somewhere you will inspire a people, right? And you didn't know that you helped uplifting someone. So it's just like but have somebody already done that. There are many people have done that. For example, that Louis Hall, so he has a show, it's called like the greatness, the greatness, the school of the greatness. Like it's amazing, like I've been listening and been benefiting, but I was thinking like this is more like from a female, it's an immigrant, right? And what if from like the perspective I convey the message through my eye, but instead of Louis Hall's eye, right? Because it's a different perspective. So therefore, this is a kind of like a bigger dream of mine. I've been thinking how can I do that, but if just be myself, this I cannot deliver, because it's such a huge mission. But then the thing is, like when I met Phred, I feel like wow, I feel like I finally have additional support. I have support. Then because I feel like Phred can provide this amazing platform, can help me, and now that I think it's just I need amazing co-hosts who can help me together and to possibly deliver this, and somebody somehow somewhere that will be benefited.
Wow, that's so great. I love that you're going to be sharing, first of all, your personal positive growth stories. That's really fabulous. And then secondly, that you have a different perspective. You are coming from outside of the United States into the United States, and you can see things with new eyes. Totally different experience than somebody who grew up here, and we're just like Joel was talking about, we're just in our eggshell. We don't know what's going on another continent in the world. So you're really bringing a different viewpoint, and I love that you're focused on positive and inspiring stories that are going to help uplift other people because of your own personal growth. So can you share a little bit more about that? Love to. Time out.
Thank you.
Phred gets a couple of shots in here. So one year, if I remember right, in Boston, correct? The Boston area?
Yes.
So Manhattan clam chowder or Boston clam chowder?
Boston clam chowder.
All right, that's a correct answer. We can continue here. All right. So one, I'm really not used to hearing people saying nice things about Phred. Usually it's kind of people up raising their hands, or I'm going to get you, but we won't go into that. So my next question is that on the show, will you be offering short segments on how to swear in Chinese?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, another place I can learn it, because I won't say it now, but I do know how to swear in Chinese. Old employee taught me at least one or two words. I love being able to swear in other languages because no one can tell I'm swearing at them.
Will you make sure to be nice to me? You don't know what I'm teaching you.
Hey, you're right, and I just make sure that if I'm walking up to somebody who might understand, I'll swear in Italian. Now you can continue, Barbara.
Okay, well, I was just wanting CiCI, if she would, to share a little bit about your story and your personal growth and how these, because you mentioned a lot of very inspiring names, how they inspired you and what difference it made in your life.
Thank you, Barbara. You always ask us this amazing questions. I think that being an immigrant, that I came here just 10 years ago just by myself. That I don't know anybody, and I didn't have a lot of money support. But I think I came here for school, but I was so blessed that I have amazing school that they provided me a lot of financial resources and support, which is called Framingham State University. It's right here in Massachusetts. Amazing school. So I was able to accomplish that. So after graduated, I decided to just try and to work here, and after I work a few years, I really fall in love, fall in love in Boston, and I decided to stay here. So through and then I'm blessed that I was able to stay here. So that's the challenges that I have. That's just like any other immigrant. That's you know what you have been through. There are some moments you have to walk through the dark, and you just have embracing it, and just no tears, but with a smiling face, and because knowing that every challenge is a blessing, maybe the God gave you an opportunity for a better growth. So that's how I see it. If you ask me that what is the biggest challenge that I have is, I will say that many more yet to come. I welcome other challenges. Basically, I will say that. I'm just very grateful and very blessed, to have this beautiful opportunity to live in America, and especially living in this beautiful state of Massachusetts. So I treasure every moment, and I value everybody's opinion. It's a blessing. I only see blessings from my perspective. That makes sense.
And see,
no, it makes sense. Go ahead, Phred.
That's what attracted me. I would call it the attitude of gratitude. Yes. Because I'm always grateful for the day I've been given, and I know what happens, when you don't know that. And that's what attracted me to you, and not the fact that you could probably ship cheap lobsters across the country.
Oh my gosh.
It's delicious. We're good.
Okay, so I really love what I heard you say, and every challenge is an opportunity for a blessing. That's a beautiful statement. I love hearing that. And I'm just so curious. What would you say is the biggest difference between living where you came from and living in Boston?
Clam chowder.
Clam chowder. Other than clam chowder.
I'm getting hungry. Can you tell?
Lobster as well. Yeah, lobster as well. We're famous for lobsters. A profound question. I think I will say opportunities. Well, if you say I came from Shanghai, right? Shanghai is a fast-growing places that also have opportunity. How you define the difference of the opportunities, right? I will say that gladly that in America, that's this opportunity is capitalism opportunities, and that's one of the reason that I've 3,000 miles away, that I left my parents, left all the pressures back home, but I came here. It's because to chasing the American dream of the capitalism.
Thank you for that. And that's something that I wouldn't have known if we hadn't had this opportunity to connect and share. So thank you for sharing that. It's so interesting. And, and some of the things that we take for granted over, here in the U.S., there are things that we take for granted because we do have freedom of choice. We can create our own companies. We can be self-employed and do what we love and bring that gift, if you will, whatever we have inside of us, we can turn around and bring it to the world. And I don't think that as Americans that we always appreciate that fact, so thank you.
And that's a beautiful, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and Barbara, that's a beautiful thing is about Americans is the open heart and open mind. You're just open to listen to other people's and you recognize it. I think that's a beautiful part.
Thank you. Yeah. And I think anytime anybody is open to hear and view other people's perspectives, it's a great thing. It doesn't mean that you're going to agree. We can all agree to disagree if we need to. But at the same time, isn't that what personal growth is about? Is learning about different viewpoints and perspectives and ideas and concepts and different ways to live. And it's just, there's such a wealth of cultures and the world, and getting to know about some of them is, it's a blessing. Again, like you said, every challenge is an opportunity for a blessing. I love that statement. Thank you so much, CiCI.
All right, just a reminder, people can dial in at 323-580-5755. That's 323-580-5755. So, would you like to ask her the last question?
Absolutely. So, CiCI, if God came to you today and said, today is your day, you are the creator, I would like it if you would create something, don't know what it is, but it needs to serve humanity. What would you create?
Yes, that's another profound question that I actually, when you ask the other, the other guys, like I gave a deep thought, and I feel like this is my heartfelt feedback here. This is what I really wanted. I want the God to give me the ability to create abundance. So like the abundance of resources, meaning that we have like abundance of clean water for people to drink, right? And then plenty of food, like healthy rice and wheat, right, vegetables and natural resources, and just abundance of them. And then also this abundance of wealth. That's I wanted to have.
I love that. I mean, if there was an abundance like that of everything, it seems like I mean, I don't know, because we don't have that. But if there was, then it seems like there would be no more struggle. There'd be no more strife. We would just all be blessed with everything that we needed. And then there'd be an abundance of us, right? There'd be no dissension amongst people because we'd all have enough. And then that's the question, what is enough? Right?
All right, so I'm sorry, you said two things there that made me flash back to an old Star Trek original series where they hit a planet where everything was given to everybody, and because there was no pain, there was no growth. No pain, no gain. So I want you to know, you guys are talking, you're making me think 1960s Star Trek, which is half the guests here have no clue what I'm talking about. Then again, I'm used to that. Half the time people have no clue what I'm talking about anyway, so never mind. Shall we go to the next guest?
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, CiCI, for your contribution.
Thank you.
All right, so our next guest is Mr. James A. White Sr., who I happen to be co-hosting his show, which is called A Better World, Conscious Conversations to Uplift Humanity. So, welcome, James.
Thank you. How are you? Thanks for helping me get on. At my age, when I'm older than that young man up there who's talking to you, I sometimes struggle with which buttons to push. But with your help. Thank you so much. I appreciate
You're welcome. It's just wonderful to have you here. I'm honored. And
you're 2-timing me? No, 3-timing me, aren't you? You're 3-timing me. You know, they have when I was young, they had a name for the girls like you. All right, and so now you can continue. James is actually kind of my hero.
Yeah.
Because the dude has great grandkids, and one of my purposes in life is to live long enough to have great grandkids and my own tribe. Think about that, a tribe of PHREDs.
Yes, that would be beautiful. I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
It is going to happen.
From your mouth to God's ears.
Right.
Oh gosh. So James and I recorded our first and second episodes a couple weeks ago, and I'm really excited about the direction that it went. I feel like it was a very good discussion that we had. It was really on point with creating a better world and uplifting humanity. And I think it'd be really important right now if you would share a little bit about yourself, James, and your background, and what brought you to want to create this book about a better world and the podcast to uplift humanity.
Well, me, training consultant. I've been doing training, probably sales and training. I was with 3 major corporations doing sales. Just to kind of date me, when I was selling copiers, someone said there's a brand new product that's on the market and you have to start selling. I said, what is that brand new product? He said it's a word processing system. So the word processing system did not exist when I was in the sales market. So I jumped in with a company by the name of Wang to sell those products and then larger mainframe computers. And then I started my own company. So I've had my company now for 34 years, Performance Consulting Services. And what we do, we work with individuals, groups, and organizations in identifying development tools that will allow them to empower themselves in their pursuit of performance excellence. So whatever it is an individual needs as it relates to training skills. I don't do anything with equipment anymore. I really know nothing about it. I could just sell anything. So I don't deal with that. I just deal with people. I teach about 21 different training programs, but they're all focused on people and people development. And my driver behind that, right now, the whole driver behind a better world, 2 of my other coworkers, we are all diversity trainers. You know, myself and Dan, and then also another young man named Helms, Les Helms. We decided to put this brochure together, and the brochure became a flyer, and the flyer grew and became a book. And so bottom line, we created the book. And the whole thing was to increase the consciousness of people. Our focus then was the race relations, that word that people like to run away from right now, DE&I, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And what I share with people when I talk about that, if you really want to understand diversity, equity, inclusion, go to your own family. Within your family, you have diversity. At your family reunion, family gathering. Within that diverse family of your own, people want to be treated with equity. Everyone in the family, the brothers and the sisters and the cousins and the aunts, they all want to be treated with equity. And then all of them want to be included. So it's a people thing. It is not a race thing. It's something that every single individual on the face of this earth have been dealing with since they took their first breath. You know, so that's what DE&I is. And so we were looking at how do we get people's consciousness to increase as it relates to that particular topic. And so the thing for me is consciousness. How do we elevate consciousness? Because with the elevation of consciousness, to me, all the things that we have been talking about here today, when people, it just makes it easier because people can see beyond their own personal biases. And who has bias? Everyone. I am biased and I am prejudiced, but I don't want my bias and prejudice to have a negative impact on anyone. So I would hope that there would be people around me who, when my bias comes out and when my prejudice comes out, they'll tap me on the shoulder and say, Jim, can we talk? Do you know what it was you just said and why you just said it? so that's kind of that's kind of the driver behind what I'm doing. And Joel, I just want to, I reach out. You touched me, Joel. I really appreciate what yeah. So thank you. I definitely want to get inside of it, and not to leave anyone else out. But I just had to touch that with the eggshell piece.
No inappropriate touching, please. This is this is at least a PG rated show, and you know
this is California.
That's what I'm wondering. That's what I was wondering. I was going to ask him, are you in California? Because, dude, you're sounding really Californian there. And, you know, the other thing I'm going to say is you took it brothers and sisters. And, yeah, we don't want to go to my feelings toward my sister. Believe me, that's a bad thing.
Another story.
Whole nother show. Different show whatsoever.
Make sure you tune me in on that one.
See, I look at it. I was going to say, I look at it. I love, and this is when we first talked. I thought I'm looking forward to have this show. Have your show on, and I'm really looking forward to it. Hearing them. This is that whole thing about facilitating dialogue. The more we talk, everyone's hit it. One of my goals in life is I don't need to be heard. I don't need to be seen. If people can see what I see and hear what I hear, then we can make change. And that's kind of this whole thing that KPHRED is. So right. To me, I love that. My only gripe is your co-host is too old.
See, I thought she was a teenager.
Yeah, well, you know.
That's what I thought.
She's the oldest woman here.
That's so true. Oh my God.
And I'm at least 4 hours away from her, and I can escape before she comes up with the club.
You're definitely, there's going to be no touching here, Phred.
As long as it's not with a club, I'm fine with that.
Oh my gosh. Well, I just had a question, something I've never asked James before. And do you have siblings that are out and about, and do you have those family gatherings where your brothers and sisters come?
Yes. We've had 65 family reunions.
What?
65.
Oh my God.
Damn.
Is that once a year or is that more?
It started once a year, and then it was every other year. So it's been going on for quite some time. And when we started, we would have as many as 350 people at the family reunions. And I think our last one was maybe about 140, 150 people at the family reunion. So, I mean, family's broad and it's deep, and you know, a lot of love. But we also have some of the younger family members on, I think, on like 3 family reunions ago. The hotel told us never, ever, ever come back again to our hotel. Because some of our younger
yeah, I've been there.
They just told us don't come back. So now we try to work it out, you know. But they were that younger group that everyone has some in their family. They just do, most boys primarily. They didn't break anything, but you know, it just took a lot to maintain control. But yeah,
so,
great time.
Wow.
Were you using a football stadium?
No.
Was it 100 and how many people?
What we did, we started it in our hometown, Sharon, Pennsylvania, Sharon and Farrell. And we used to always have it at it's called Farrell City Park. And so when we come in, some people would stay at hotels, but many would stay with family members because that's our core family. My great grandfather, he moved there with his mother and sister. He was released from slavery at age 6. And so that started there, and it just grew. And the family's last name was Lampkins, and there were so many Lampkins all over the place. So we would come back and stay with your uncles and your aunts and your cousins. And then as we became more sophisticated, we started moving more out to hotels and things like that. But that's how it started. So it's been a lot And it was a training ground, because as the young boys especially came up, come on out on the basketball court, come on out in the football field, let's see what you got. Because everybody thought they had the best game in town, right? And that was the test. That's where they would test. We would get tested by family members. So it was a great family piece that I just enjoyed immensely. Every time I went, it was just good feelings and love.
I understand.
And great food. Great food.
Wow.
I can understand family being testing, believe me.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And there, always there are those members that say, damn, Uncle Willie's going to show up again? Oh, my God. What's he going to do? Who's he going to bring with him? You never know who would jump out the car with Uncle Willie and say, Lord have mercy. But you look at those people. That was Uncle Willie. So you give him a hug and say, in your mind, I hope you don't want to stay at my house this time.
Yeah, I can relate that.
Right,
all right.
That's it. And that's family. Every family.
All right, so we got to ask him the last question, and then we're going to we got to go back to Catryn, because we didn't ask her the question, but everybody's been really kind of like mellow and Californian with their answers. So with Catryn, we're going to make her do it the business. So it has to be a product that could be marketed along with its message. Ooh. A good challenge. So let's
give her a minute. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's ask
James.
Yes, the question. So James, if God came to you today and said, you are the creator. The thing is that we need you to create something to uplift humanity. What would you create?
Good question. I would really like to talk to God and say, why did you create the mess that you created? If you created it. I mean, really, why did you create this mess? So with that, the question would be, how then do we increase people's consciousness so that they don't blame and pick, and I gotta hold on to my little spot, and I can't let you into my cage. If I see you coming close, so that whole thing that causes people, I look at history throughout the world, people have been killing each other.
Amen to that.
Nothing but, I just want all the marbles. For what reason, I don't know. I want all the marbles, I want all the rocks, I want all the trees, I want all the water, I want all the sand, I want all the whatever. And so that would be the question. What was the intent? If you had that, since you had that. And so could you create that higher level of consciousness and probably kinship? So that would be my.
I love that. I think if we were all operating from a place of love and compassion, we would have that.
Yeah.
So that just makes me think that, God gave us free will, so we get to choose, right? Mm-hmm. And we know that hurt people, right? So to me, it's heartbreaking to know that somebody would hurt somebody else. Why would you do that? Right? And even if it was unintentional, some people unintentionally, unknowingly hurt somebody. That's part of the blind spots that we talk about in the book A Better World, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But at the same time, I know there's people out there that intentionally hurt others.
Yes.
And it's just like, why would you do that? Is something
I need you to listen. In order to answer your question, I need you to listen to the song "It Hurts So Good" by John Cougar Mellencamp.
Really?
Hurts so good, huh?
I'll check it out though.
I'm old. All right. So first we're going to pick on Catryn, and we got 6 minutes left for her answer. Then we're going to hear what Barbara would design.
Nice.
So bring it.
Okay. So I've got the revised question for me specifically answer, but then I'm going to tell you my real answer.
There you go. Do it,
my
girl.
business answer is I would create something that allows people to talk to their animals. Because so much of what everyone has mentioned stems from us feeling alone. We are disconnected from our source. We are disconnected from one another. And we go to our animals for that solace and connection. And I think if people could hear and feel that love from their dogs, from their cats, from their goats, from their tortoises, all the animals that we have in our lives, that we would not feel so alone, and that would help to dissipate some of those lower frequency emotions of shame and guilt, which are so isolating. So that's my business.
I love it. I love it because I already understand the branding. The Tortoise Whisperer.
My second answer, and this is controversial, is I would say you've already created everything that we need. It's already all here. I would not be so audacious to think that I could create anything better. And I think it goes very back to what Joel was talking about with the eggshell, is those chicks, as much as it looks like in the moment that they are struggling, they have to go through it to learn and grow and be strong. And we know that our trees, they can't be grown indoors. They have to experience the wind to go strong. So even though in the moment it seems like we are going through pain, it's so temporary when we look at it in a much more, pulled out view. So I think all of the pain and suffering that we experience in these moments, even though it doesn't feel good in the moment, we can get through it to reach that better and higher self version of ourselves, and that's why our soul is on this planet, is to learn whatever that lesson is for each one of us.
So what I heard is you wouldn't change a thing.
I wouldn't.
You took me to a couple extra songs, but we're running low on time, so I'm not going to pick on you that one. I do like the Tortoise Whisperer. I think that's an awesome thing. We'll have to collaborate on it. All right, Barbara, author of the question, what's your answer?
It's so funny because I hadn't really thought about it.
Yeah, you thought you'd escape.
I did. I thought I'd get out of it. So I think everything that people have talked about today, which is bringing a new level of consciousness, of awareness, critical thinking, helping people to think differently. And I think the most important thing is having people understand their divine purpose. We're all here for a reason. Just like, Catryn said, some of the things that we've experienced might have been hard and a struggle, but man, we needed that so that we could grow. Joel talked about that. He needed to have that experience so he could grow. And then his purpose now is to turn around and share that with the world. Great. That's, I believe that that's what we need. We need people to understand, and maybe that is what I would say is something that I would love to see instilled in everybody that is incarnate, born on the planet, is that innate wisdom that they are born here with a purpose to make a difference in the world, to bring their divinity and their divine purpose and express it in the world. So if everybody was born with that instant knowledge, we would have a different planet, and oh my gosh, wouldn't it be fun?
All right, on that note, I was thinking more of like a inexhaustible toilet roll, but never mind. We want to thank everyone for showing up today on another KPHRED Prime Live. If you don't think this is the rabbit hole, then please give us questions that we can take us even farther down. Thanks to my co-host Barbara Wainwright of Wainright Global and Catryn Becker, the Tortoise Lady of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, as well as everybody else. Can't wait to get your all the shows on. And my answer would be one word. What I would create? KPHRED. And yeah, talk us out.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Courage, strength, and hope with everyone. They have a